I want to talk a little bit about how you used Jordan Poyer last night, specifically more like a big dime defender, if you will, taking a linebacker off the field. First of all, kind of what went into that, and can you talk about the challenges of that, especially on a short week?
Well, we didn't debut that yesterday. It's something that we've had in the works now for a couple of weeks, and obviously, what Jordan does for us, he gives us an opportunity to utilize his skills as a blitzer because we blitz him from the safety position. He's excellent as a blitzer, as a fifth rusher, if you will, and also the matchup that he gives us from that position against the back or whomever he's assigned to as a coverage person.
And then when it comes to playing that type of defense, what kind of stress, if at all, does it put on the middle linebacker if you're really running one linebacker and six DBs?
Well, you technically still have two linebackers on the field. You just have a different person occupying that position, a little bit different body type. So in terms of how our defense functions, how those two people interact with each other and how they function within the concept that we're playing defensively, it's just a different person executing from that role.
I appreciate that insight, Coach. And to do all that, you got to have a third safety, Taylor Rapp in this case, to be able to obviously step back there. Can you just kind of assess his play last night?
Yeah, Taylor did a good job. As a middle of the field person, as a person, that gave us good run support when he was rotated down. He did a nice job. Obviously that position has to be, it's a fluid position. Obviously, every now and again, you have to rotate to the middle of the field and use your exceptional ball skills. He has that type of versatility. We like his physicality. And so we were able to really, really get some things done with him on the field last night.
Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome.
Yes, good afternoon, Coach. George Radney, Challenger Community News. Hope you're having a good day today.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, a question I have for you. Baker Mayfield, during the press conference at the post game last night, he mentioned that the Poyer and Hyde, he had never seen that before, where both he said normally what happens is, he said the Bills disguised it very well, and he said the thing, he never, usually one of these safeties gives it away at the last second. He said those two guys, he said they must have been playing together forever, because he's never experienced where both of those guys were so in sync that one of them didn't give away what the actual coverage was going to be. What does that take to be that good at disguising coverages?
You have to have tremendous awareness, first of all, just understanding the defense that we're presenting, and just knowledge of the shot clock, when the ball is actually going to be snapped, so that you can hold your look as long as possible. Because if we have a good idea of when the ball is going to be snapped, and we can maintain the look or the shell of our defense. And those two guys, the awareness that they have because of the amount of years that they've played just on their own, and then obviously together, is something that they can do together and still put themselves in a position to execute the call. So their experience individually and the chemistry that they have together in terms of working off each other is a big time asset for us in that regard.
Yes, indeed, because almost every week, whoever the opponent, they always mention how excellent the disguises are of the coverage. So they're definitely on point for sure. And last question, how your assessment of the defensive front last night, of their performance?
I was really happy. I thought this was one of the better performances in terms of us containing the run. We didn't have a lot of explosives there. I thought we controlled the line of scrimmage in terms of that. And one of the things that we knew we had to get done was collapse the pocket around Baker Mayfield. We had to make sure that he didn't step up in the pocket, that we clouded the rush lanes with our height, with our power and physicality. So there were some positives there. I wanted to see us win a couple of more one-on-one situations and actually get our hands on the quarterback in a position where we could hit him and try and get the ball away from him. But overall, really excited with the effort and some of the details that we knew we needed to do up front to give our team the best chance to win.
All right. Thank you very much, and good luck next week, Coach.
Thank you.
Hey, Eric. I wanted to follow up on some of what Sal was asking about with Jordan Poyer. What were the early conversations like with him of just, hey, we think we want to use you this way? Like, was he excited right away? Was he kind of like, oh, let me, like, what will that be like? Like, just what was his reaction?
Well, with Jordan, when you present the duty or the job description or whatever we're trying to do in terms of the game plan and the best way of utilizing him, there's a certain level of enthusiasm from Jordan just about being able to help from a different position or help the overall concept and design of the call. And so he's a willing participant. There's a reason why he's respected. He's a captain on our team. He's always willing to do whatever, even if that means getting outside of his comfort zone to provide us a different look or a different dimension from what he can do.
And then Terrell Bernard last night was saying he didn't feel it was too different, even if it was like moving parts all around him. Just what does that say about him, this far into the season, that he's got such confidence in his role in the defense too, even when you guys are mixing up stuff?
Says a lot about his development and about just the fact that he's kind of mature beyond his playing level would suggest. And with every week, with every experience, and every week it's a little bit different. The opponent, the design of the offense. So it's a little different. So he's learning and gaining so much from that. And he's really doing a nice job of just utilizing those experiences for his benefit and also for the benefit of our defense.
And then just to clarify the timeline on kind of putting that stuff in behind the scenes at practice, I know you said this wasn't the first week that you were trying it out. Sean had mentioned how it was kind of trying to solve problems with Matt Milano out. So is it just kind of around when you guys were without him that it started to make sense to do that, or was it earlier or later?
Well, we have different defensive packages. Yeah. With multiple packages where, there's some packages that we have different numbers of defensive linemen on the field. So we start working these contingencies or talking about them way before there's an issue with player availability. And believe it or not, these are things that we discussed in the off season. How can we get more speed on the field? When does a matchup dictate that we do something different with the personnel at a particular position? And so those conversations started way before we had before Matt went down. And it was something that we've worked and practiced and felt like this was the best opportunity, or this was a great time to try and use that and to try and help us.
Gotcha. Thanks, Eric.
You're welcome.
Hey, Coach, I know you guys have a few days off here, but as you begin to prepare for an opponent in the Bengals coming up next Sunday night, how do you start preparation for a team who hasn't been playing up to the level they played at last year, but still respecting the fact that they do have a lot of talented players on that roster?
Well, we prepare for them at their absolute best. We won't look at records, and we know that they are a potent, powerful offense, led by their quarterback and some of the exceptional skill players that they have. And so we're going to prepare for what we know that they're capable of, and at the same time, make sure that we're continuing to grow and build with what we have here. So every week in the NFL, you have an offense that has exciting, explosive players that you have to contain defensively, that you have to find a way to win those individual matchups. And so, we won't concern ourselves with their record. We know what Cincinnati is capable of. And fortunately, we have a couple of recent experiences with them that we can look back on and use to get ourselves ready to go.
Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome.
Hi, Eric. John Worrell. Just wondering, I know this is a game to be played, but how do you approach the emotional impact of returning to Cincinnati beyond just, having a game to play and knowing what happened there 10 months ago?
That's a good question. And because that was such a I don't even know how to describe it. I don't know that there's a great response for that. I don't know if there's not one that I've sat down and formulated. I think every person that was here, and obviously that had experienced that from wherever they were, we all recognize that was an unbelievable event. I think what we'll try to do is live in the present and to be grateful and thankful that our team's viable, DeMar is viable, he's back in the fold, and just, you know, focus on what's in front of us as opposed to the horrific set of circumstances that we experienced a year ago. I think we'll try and do that, but I'm only speaking from my standpoint. But I don't know that there's a guide to how to approach that. I just know that when we come into the building, our focus will be on the Bengals and what we have to do as a defense to contain them, to disrupt them, and to do the things that are inherent to our cause.
I totally get that, Eric, and it's a unique situation, and I appreciate your answer, and hopefully you get some time to rest up over the weekend. Thank you.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.